Hi everyone, and welcome to the Knit California podcast. My name is Leslie. I am Knit California here on YouTube and also over on Instagram and TikTok. And today I've got a regular podcast episode coming at ya. I am excited to be here today because I have two finished objects to talk to you about. I have a sweater that is back on the needles that you haven't seen since last year, and I'll talk to you about why it's back on the needles. And last weekend was the San Diego yarn crawl, so I want to talk to you about my experience there and show you this entire huge bag of yarn and other goodies that I got while I was there. But before we get into all of that, I am excited to announce that today's episode is sponsored by Ana Luisa Jewelry. I've been working with Ana Luisa as a VIP for the last couple months, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about them today. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been wearing these earrings and this necklace in the last 3 or 4 videos that I've made the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I absolutely love these pieces. Ana Luisa Jewelry is classic and timeless with unmatched quality. The pieces are long-lasting, tarnish-resistant, and you can feel good about wearing them. The earrings that I've been wearing for the last few episodes are called the Nate earrings, and this necklace that I've been wearing is called Ocean. I have literally been wearing these earrings non-stop since the day I got them. I sleep in them, I shower in them, I've gone in the pool with them, and number one, they haven't fallen off, and number two, they still look as good as the day I got them. I love the style and the quality of my Ana Luisa jewelry, and if you do as well, I have a 20% off coupon code for you to use. It is KnitCalifornia20. There is a link in the description box. It's right at the top of the description box down below this video. If you go in and you click the more button, it should pop up right there. Again, my code for 20% off is KnitCalifornia20, and the link is in the top of the description box. Elevate your everyday style with Ana Luisa Jewelry, and if you order something, leave a comment down below so that I know what you've ordered, because I would love to hear which pieces are your favorites as well. Okay, let's get into my first finished object. Let me see if I can show this to you all in one frame. It's kind of large, but here it is. It doesn't even look good when I hold it up like that. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. I finished my Sophie Shawl by Petite Knit, and the yarn that I used for this is Hedgehog Fibers, their classic sock base in the colorway Taffy. I had 3 skeins of this, fingering weight, and I held 2 strands together to make like a DK weight yarn, and I just knit my increases until I made it to what I thought was the halfway point, and then I started decreasing from there, and I really loved the process of knitting this shawl. I really love the texture. It's garter stitch, it's nice and squishy. I know you've probably seen 100 people knit this shawl and probably talk about it on YouTube, but I'm really happy with the finished outcome, and I really liked the process of knitting it. If you like knitting shawls and you have been on the fence about this one, I'll just say it was a really simple and intuitive knit, and I really enjoyed it, and you may enjoy it as well. The one thing it's totally my fault, is I was playing Yarn Chicken and I ran out of yarn. So the last 40 rows or so of this are in a completely different yarn. You may actually notice I used the same yarn leftovers from actually knitting this Ranunculus that I'm wearing right now. I ran out of yarn and I was like, oh boy, this is really annoying. And I could have ripped back a bit. There were a couple things I could have done. I could have ripped back a bit and just decrease at a like faster rate so that I could close it up a little bit sooner. And I mean, I could theoretically like go back and still do that. I don't really know how I'm feeling about this tail being a different color. I don't think it's a huge deal. I mean, it's still in the same pink family, and like when I wear this, like you probably won't really notice that much, and I can always like tuck this tail like, you know, up into the shawl so that nobody really sees it. But it is just kind of a bummer. I originally, when I ran out of yarn, I went to my scrap box that's in my stash and I was like, oh, let's finish it like with something completely different. And I pulled out this yarn and I knit the whole tail in it, and I was like, immediately after I finished it, I posted a picture on my Instagram story and I was like, oh no, I don't think this is it. But I decided like immediately that I didn't like it, and like literally 2 minutes after I finished it, I ripped it out and was like, no, no, no. But I saw this yarn and I was like, oh, it matches close enough, so I'm just gonna finish it with this. So that's where I'm at now. I mean, again, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Let me see. I mean, obviously when I'm wearing it on top of, you know, the shirt that has the original yarn, it's like not gonna look that bad. But, you know, I can always just like, you know, tuck it up in here, tuck both tails up in here really, and it'll be fine. I think it's really cute, and I think this is probably the way that I'll wear it most of the time, I think. 'Cause, you know, it'll be nice and cozy when traveling, can kind of use it as a little neck pillow, and if it gets chilly when I'm in Ireland, I don't know, I just think it's really cute. Today is obviously not the right day to wear it. It's like, oh, it's only 80 degrees outside today, but it's really hot in the house, so I gotta get this off. But this is my first finished object, and I'm happy it's done. It's one thing less now that I have to worry about getting done before Ireland. And yeah, that's it. All right, let me show you my second finished object. Dun, dun, dun. It's a hat. This is the Spur Hat by Hirose Nagasawa of Plain Needleworks. It is an interesting hat. The bottom, the fold up, the brim, that's the word. The brim is 2x2 rib. There's actually a section in here that is 1x1 that's hidden by the 2x2. And this top portion is brioche. I don't know if you can see it. Ooh. The yarn that I use for this is Ruby and Rose's Yarn Co. in the soft rose base. I believe it's an 85-15 superwash merino nylon 4-ply base. And the colorway is called Wax Seal. I absolutely love the color. I think it's gorgeous. I would love a full sweater quantity of this. I think I love it. This is like one of my colors. But I did have, I'll put it on so you can see. I did have some issues with the hat. Let's see. Hopefully you can see it okay. You know, hats are really hard to show. In the photos, it like, I feel like it sticks up a little bit more and has like a nice, like, it's got a nice point and shape at the top in the photos, and that was really what I was going for. That's really what I liked about this pattern, and I feel like I have not achieved that in my version of this hat. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of like lumpy bumpy at the top here, and like it like goes up and then it like dips down where the join is right at the crown. And I just don't know if it's like, it's definitely not the look that's similar to what the the pattern photos look like, and it's not really what I was going for. When I wear it, I feel like it like flattens and like rounds out enough that like you don't really notice it. But a few things about this. I was doing really good on the brioche up until one of the very last rounds is like this big decrease round where you do a whole bunch of decreases to like start getting down to the crown point here. And I severely messed up that round the first time. I don't know what happened, but I tried to tink back. I like dropped a whole bunch of yarn overs and stitches. I mean, tinking back in brioche is really difficult, especially if you don't really know what you're doing. And I really messed it up. And I ended up having to go back. Let's see. That last decrease round is like right here. I ended up having to go back like probably like 8 rounds to like here, and it was really sad. It was really sad, but I watched some fantastic YouTube tutorials on like frogging brioche and picking up stitches in brioche that like really saved my butt. I would not have been able to do that without those videos. I'm actually gonna link 1 or 2 of them down below in the description box in case you are also interested in learning how to frog or tink back brioche. But I tinked it back, I went down those like 8 or so rows, and I reknit it, and I got back to that like mega decrease round, and I was super careful. I like wrote out the instructions in a way that like I could follow them easily, make sure I was hitting every single instruction in that line, and something still got messed up. Like this section right here is supposed to be, you know, just straight up, but there's a decrease right here, and I know I followed the instructions exactly. And I was looking at the photo on the pattern page, and this decrease is not supposed to be right here. I'm pretty sure that decrease is supposed to be here, where these like 3 knit stitches are supposed to be coming together. So I don't know if it really was just me, or if that line in the pattern is incorrect. Honestly, it's probably just me and the way I was doing it. And I mean, I really probably should have tinked back again and redid it to like get these decreases in the right spot, but I really just like couldn't handle doing that a second time, or a third time really. So that's where this has ended up. A couple other things I would say about this is the recommended yarn in the pattern is the Mondim yarn, and I'm pretty sure that is a non-superwash yarn. So I do think there is a big difference in like the structure and the durability of a hat knit in a non-superwash yarn versus this superwash yarn. I just don't know if I chose the correct yarn for this project. I don't know if you can tell, but like the brim keeps wanting to fall. The hat is like pretty floppy, and I feel like if you had used it, or if I had used a non-superwash yarn, it would have been way more sturdy. Now I don't think it's a huge issue when you're actually wearing the hat, because like having it on your head really like helps it keep its shape. But the other piece is that this is knit in 1 strand of fingering weight yarn, and 1 strand of fingering weight yarn is really thin. Now you are doing brioche, so that gives you a little bit of extra like squish. It makes, you know, the stitches are kind of like pushed forward and then pushed back, so there is a little bit more of a thickness there, but it's still a pretty thin hat compared to like any of the hats that I've made in like a DK weight yarn or bigger. So if you're looking for this to provide a lot of warmth, I don't know if this is really the correct pattern for that. If you're looking for a really cute brioche hat, I mean, I think this is a really cute brioche hat. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Spur Hat. I don't think I'm going to knit this one again unless I have maybe some non-superwash yarn at some point that I want to try out. Like one skein that I want to try out, but we'll see. I do still have almost half of the skein left over. That really only used, I think it was like 51 or 52 grams. I've got like 48 grams left over here. So this is just gonna go in my scrap box. I don't know if I have anything specific that I want to do with it yet, but kind of interesting how much of it was left over. So just something to think about, just something to note. Okay, those are my 2 finished objects. It was kind of fun to have 2 finished objects this week. Like, it made me feel good about what I was doing. Okay, I'm not going to go into full detail on this next project because I'm filming a whole video about this process, but let me show you what I have back on my needles. Look at this. Do you remember this? Have you been here since last year? These needles are gonna stab me. This is my Dear Duomo sweater by Seunghee Knits, and the yarn that I used for this is Explorer Knits and Fibers Cashmere Caverns Sock Base in the colorway Fia from her Ireland collection. It's this gorgeous, you know, white cream base with speckles of teal, purple, gray, peach. It's really subtle and really pretty. I needed to make some updates to this sweater. Basically, the sleeves were too short, so I have added, you can probably see the line right there. I've added about 2 inches to the sleeves. This is the cuff that, oh, this is the same length of the cuff that was already there, but I did re-knit it. So I did that on both sleeves, and now I'm redoing the collar. I don't know if you can see this, but it's looking so good. I just did this today and I'm so proud of it. Basically, when I knit this the first time, I really rushed through it. I was like on a deadline, you know, self-imposed deadline to get it done to do my drop shoulder comparison video. This was the last sweater that I knit in 2022, December of 2022, and I was also just trying to make sure I got it done before December 31st so that I could say I finished it in 2022, which, like, looking back, like, yeah, I get it, but also I didn't knit this to the specifications that I now know that I want it to be to make it, like, the perfect sweater for me. So that's why I'm going back and fixing it, because I found myself reaching for this sweater a lot, but I would put it on and be like, oh, I don't actually like the fit of this because the sleeves are too short. I don't really like the neckline. I had, you know, from just picking up stitches, I had some like little holes here, and it just didn't look perfect. It didn't look terrible. I don't think anyone really noticed except for like me, but I just knew that it could be better, especially seeing a lot of other people who knit this, their versions looking so much better than mine. And so I am taking the time because I ultimately wanted to bring this to wear in Ireland because this yarn is from Explorer Knits and Fibers Ireland collection, so, you know, obviously gotta bring it with me to wear in Ireland to get some photos, and because it's just like it's really just the perfect neutral color and it'll look good with like everything that I'm wearing. So that's what I'm doing. The biggest thing with this neckline, I'll talk to you a little bit about it, is I had picked up the stitches just straight, picked them up, started knitting, continued on. In the pattern, they recommend that you do a crochet like reinforcement around the whole neckline and then pick your stitches up from that. And originally I was like, I don't think I need to do that. Well, was I wrong? This looks so good. I'm definitely going to have more photos of it when I finish it, because I'm also going to make the collar a little bit longer. You can see, obviously I'm not done with it yet. I'm going to make it a little bit longer, and I'm going to make it a double folded collar. It was not a double folded collar previously, my version, and I just think it'll make this like way more comfy, cozy, and sweatshirt-like, and I just realized that it would make it nicer if it was a double folded collar. So that's what I'm going to do. And yeah, I'm just like really proud of this pickup method now. It's just so much better than what it was before. So if you're interested in knitting a drop shoulder, I would highly recommend this one. This is the Dear Duomo, again, by Seunghee Knits. It is knit bottom up, and I know as soon as I say that, people are going to be like, oh no, I can't do bottom up. But I'm actually considering knitting a second one of these with the very top row pink there. That's the Dusty Yarn Co. Bougainvillea that I showed, I think in the last episode. I think it was last week that I showed you that. I think I have enough skeins of that to knit a second one of these. And wouldn't that just be so fun to have like a neutral white one and then like a hot pink one? Yes, I agree. All right, so again, I am knitting, or I'm filming a whole video about the knitting process of repairing this sweater as well as a couple more. So I don't know when that will be coming out, but you can be excited for it when it does come out, I guess. Yeah. I'm excited for this to be done. Hopefully I'll finish the collar this weekend and then block it. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will definitely be the first to see in my Instagram stories the process of that and what it'll look like at the end. So go give me a follow if you're not already following me there. Okay. I'm going to move on. The last thing that I want to talk to you about is the San Diego yarn crawl that was last weekend. I thought about filming like a vlog style video, and I actually did film an intro for it, but really we got down there and I don't know, didn't really feel like filming once I got there. I don't know. I was really just trying to enjoy the time, enjoy the moment. I have a friend here in San Diego. Her name is Anna. I will put her tag here and in the description box down below. She is a knitter, and I think she actually lives in the same city as me, so it was like really exciting. And we drove down together down to San Diego, and we hit up, first we went to Emmy's Yarns in Chula Vista, and neither of us had ever been there, but I had heard that it was like a nice big store. And we walk in and it's crowded. There were a ton of people there, but it is a nice big store. They've got a really good selection of, like, you walk in and on one side is a lot of cotton yarn and cotton blend yarns, which is really interesting and I think really nice because we live in San Diego or Southern California area. It's definitely warmer. Like, cotton is kind of a nice substitute if you're not always going to be using wool. So it was really cool to see like a huge selection of cotton and cotton blend yarns. And then on the other side of the store was their wool, and they had a ton of wool to look at and choose from. They had a lot of Malabrigo, some Madeline Tosh, and there was a third brand that they had a lot of as well, but I am blanking on what brand it was. I actually did not buy anything from Emmy's Yarns because I knew we were going to at least one other place that I wanted to go to, and I was unsure if we were going to get to a third place, but we did, so I'll tell you about that in a little bit too. After Emmy's Yarns in Chula Vista, we drove over to Liberty Station and we hit up Apricot Yarns. Apricot Yarn and Supply is my favorite yarn shop in San Diego. I love the people that work there and I love their selection. I love the vibe of the shop. It's just my favorite. And okay. The first thing that I picked out when we were there is I got 3 skeins of this double Sunday. This is a Sandnes Garn double Sunday petite knit in like the cream colorway. I don't know if these ones have color names on them. No, they don't. But I got 3 skeins of this. I have some like black / really dark blue double Sunday in my stash. I was making something else with it, but I'm going to frog that thing. If you know what it is, then you've been here for a long time. And I'm going to knit the Marseille sweater with that black as the main color and this cream as like the stripes. So I'm really excited about that. Got the yarn for that. And then Apricot Yarns had a couple trunk shows going on for the yarn crawl. One yarn company, yarn dyer that they work with, I got a hair, that they work with on a regular basis for like their events and stuff, and they carry their yarn and shop a lot. Surrey alpaca is the Ba yarn and the La Jolla base, which is a 100% superwash wool, 115 grams, 400 yards. And I got 3 skeins of this colorway, which is called Toasted Neutral. And isn't this so gorgeous? Oh boy. You can see it's, again, a cream base. I went so neutral with my purchases at this yarn crawl. It's insane. But it's a cream base with these speckles of dark purple and oranges and pinks. And there's some blue speckles in there as well. I saw these skeins. There were actually 4 of them, but I knew I only needed 3. So I just grabbed the 3 and I was like, oh my gosh, I need this. And I was like, well, what am I going to knit with 3? What am I going to knit with 3 skeins? And I was like, oh, I can get some Surrey to go with this and knit a lento. And the other trunk show that they were having was for Red Stag Fiber. And they actually had Surrey alpaca for the first time. And I had been over looking at that table because I was looking at another yarn to get. And when I saw this Toasted Neutral, I was like, oh, I know the exact yarn to pair with it. And it's this Surrey alpaca from Red Stag Fiber in the colorway called Birch. So these 6 skeins are going to be paired together for a lento. And I just think it's gonna be like, again, a nice neutral with these pops of color, and it's going to be really pretty. I have had this yarn sitting in the top of this bag all week because I've been waiting to show it to you here on the podcast. And every time I looked into the bag, I would see this skein and it would just make me smile and make me so happy. And I just kept thinking, like, if you're just gonna look at a yarn and smile, like, that really means that you bought the right yarn, you know? You made a good decision. So I'm really happy with this, but this isn't the only thing that I'm really happy that I got last weekend. Okay, I had to restart the camera so the battery didn't, my camera stops after 30 minutes, okay? So we're past 30 minutes that I've been recording. But after we went to Apricot Yarns, I had been talking to Anna and I was like, Anna, there's an alpaca farm. It's kind of out of the way. It's in Descanso. It'll be a lot more driving, but are you interested in going? I kind of want to get a full sweater quantity of alpaca yarn. And she was like, yeah, sure, whatever, like, I'm just here along for the ride. I've got time, let's go for it. So we drove another like hour and a half out from like downtown San Diego out to Descanso, which, like, if you don't know the geography of San Diego, like, that's fine. It was a long drive for us, but it was worth it. Let me just show you. This is their little logo. I got a sticker, so I'm gonna put this on my knitting journal. And I also got, they had these such cute little pouches. I of course had to get the alpaca one that says sweater weather, and the inside all had different like fabrics too. And they've got these cute little fabric pull tabs on the zipper. I just had to. I loved this so much. I saw this on their Instagram and I was like, we need to go. I need this. But I really, like, yes, we did go see the alpacas. They were very cute. There was a baby alpaca. Oh my gosh, it was so tiny and so cute. But I really wanted to get a sweater quantity of alpaca yarn, and I did. So I would like to introduce you to my 6 skeins of Rango. This yarn is all from one alpaca, and his name is Rango, and they had like these little cards that you could pick up that told you like more information about the alpaca from the yarn that you were buying, but they didn't have any more Rango cards. So Rango must have been very popular because there were a few more skeins left after I was there, and I got 6 of them, but a bunch of people must have gotten Rango. And I understand why, because Rango was the softest alpaca yarn that I felt out of all of the alpaca yarns that were there. And from what I was told by the women who checked me out, they said that Rango was the alpha alpaca of the farm. So I've been telling everyone I got the alpha daddy alpaca named Rango. And it's gonna be my alpha daddy alpaca sweater. I don't know, it's so funny. But I'm really excited, and you know, I'm not usually one to go for gray. I think knitting with gray yarn is actually kind of boring. But, you know, with alpaca yarn, you only have, it was undyed, right? It's straight off the alpaca. So you have limited options. You've got some cream, you've got some gray, some tan, beige, brown. I could have gone dark brown, but I decided to stick more with the gray. And my thought for these 6 skeins, is to use this to knit the Seaway pullover by Ozetta. I have some other yarn over here, the like light blue, that I was kind of playing around with knitting the Seaway in that, but I actually have a different sweater that I want to knit that up in, so this is going to be my Seaway pullover. And I can picture it exactly because Ozetta's version, when she knitted up, is like a gray yarn, and so I think it'll be really nice and it'll be similar to what she did. So I'm really excited. This is different than, you know, any of like the Surrey alpaca, you know, that I've knit with in the past. I learned that Surrey alpaca is a different breed than, oh shoot, I can't remember the name of what type of alpaca this is. I should have been more prepared. I'm sure some of you know, but they're different breeds, and I was like, oh, that makes sense why this is like, you know, they're so much different from each other. So, but yeah, that's my yarn haul. Let me show you again. This and this, plus the double Sunday. It's not really exciting. It's just there. But see, didn't I tell you I went all neutral for my yarn haul from the San Diego yarn crawl, and I'm really happy with it. There were a couple other shops that we did not go to. I felt like 3 was plenty, especially after we drove so far to go out to the alpaca farm. And yeah, after that we just drove home. It was like another hour and a half, 2 hours to get home, so. But it was a nice drive. We drove all the way, you know, all through the mountains, California mountains. It was really pretty. It was just a long drive, but a long day, but a happy day. I had so much fun just seeing everyone at the yarn crawl and chatting away with Anna all day. So I really enjoyed myself and we had a great time. So let's see what else. That's really everything. Coming up next, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a waiting period until I leave for Ireland in a couple weeks. I'm sure there will be another podcast episode next week or something, figure out something to put up next week. But yeah, that's it. I'm working on all of my sweater repairs. I think I may cast on an Oslo hat. I don't think I'm going to cast on a sweater yet, although, you know, maybe this Lento will really tempt me into casting it on. Who knows? You know, I say one thing on here and then something else inevitably happens. That's exactly the opposite of what I always say. So we'll see. You'll find out next or on Instagram. But yeah, that's it. Thank you again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video. Again, if you're interested in any of the pieces that I've been wearing or anything that they have on their website, click the link in the description box below, and don't forget you can get 20% off with my code KnitCalifornia20. That's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!
Thank you.